Hi. In today's class, we're going to learn the concept of payback period. And we are also going to be calculating few sums using payback period method. So let's try working out. There will be three questions that I will be working out today to show the concept of payback period under traditional method and also payback period under modern method. Let's look at the first question. A project costs rupees 1 lakh and yields an annual cash inflow of rupees 20,000 for 8 years. Calculate its payback period. Now, this is the traditional method. So, in traditional method, we do not find out the present value or the time value of money is not considered. And hence, we take the cash flows as it is. Now, since the cash flows are constant in this problem, all we have to do is use a formula. Let's look at this. So we are working out this sum under the traditional payback period method. And the first question was when cash flows are constant. The formula is payback period is equal to initial investment divided by annual cash inflows. The initial investment is the cost of the project or the initial outlay. Over here, the project costs rupees 1 lakh. This becomes the initial investment, 1 lakh, divided by the annual cash inflows. The annual cash inflows are 20,000. So in your denominator, you mentioned 20,000. So here, our payback period will be 5 years. Now, they told us that the cash inflows are going to be there for 8 years. That's the life of the project. So, within 8 years, the project will reach its break even at 5 years. And this is how we know when we are going to be recovering our initial investment. The rest of the 3 years, the cash inflows that are received will become profit for the company. Now, when you're trying to assess if a project or an investment proposal is good for you or not, under payback period, you'll have to look at these years that you get. The lesser the years, better is the project. Now, in case you're going to compare between two projects or more than two projects, then whichever project gives you a lesser payback period, that project will be chosen. Let's move on to the next question. The second question. Determine the payback period for a project which requires a cash outlay, that's our initial investment, of rupees 10,000 and it generates cash inflows of 2,000, 4,000, 3,000 and 2,000 in the 4 years respectively. So in this question, we are still under the traditional payback period method. But then the cash inflows are not constant. So how do we calculate payback period when cash inflows are not constant? For this, we'll have to prepare a small table where we find out the cumulative of these cash inflows. There are 4 years given to us and the cash inflows provided to us are 2,000, 4,000, 3,000 and 2,000. Mention that under your cash inflow column. Now you'll have to start accumulating the cash inflows at the end of every year. So at the end of the first year, the total cash inflows are 2,000. At the end of the second year, the total will be 2,000 plus the cash inflows of second year. And you go on adding that way. Now, once you've calculated the cumulative cash inflows, you'll have to find out where the initial investment lies in the CCI, that is cumulative cash inflow column. Now, our initial investment is given over here. It is rupees 10,000. So this 10,000 lies between the second and fourth year, right? Our initial investment lies between 9,000 and 11,000. So we can say that the payback period is between 3 years and 4 years. Now, when the payback period lies between 2 years, we'll have to find out what fraction of the next year is when the initial investment will be recovered completely. So as of now, we know at the end of 3 years, 9,000 is recovered. For our initial investment, that's 10,000. We need another 1,000 to be recovered. Now, this remaining 1,000 is included in the cash inflow of the fourth year. So therefore, payback period in this case will be 3 years plus the remaining initial investment. That is 10,000 minus we have recovered 9,000 so far. So this divided by the cash inflows of the fourth year. So the remaining initial investment that is required to be recovered is available in the next year's cash inflow, which is 2,000. So when you calculate this, 1,000 by 2,000, you get 0.5. So payback period will be 3 plus 0.5. And hence payback period will be 3.5 years. And this is how you calculate payback period when cash inflows are not constant. So we worked out two sums, one when cash inflows are constant and the other one when cash inflows are not constant under the traditional payback period method. Now let's move on to the modern payback period method. Now this is where present value of money is considered and therefore every cash flow is going to be discounted since we are going to be considering the time value of money. Let's look at the third question. Calculate the discounted payback period from the following information. Cost of the project is 6 lakh. Life of the project is 5 years. Annual cash inflows are 2 lakhs and the cutoff rate is 10%. Now, the cutoff rate is the discount rate that is given to us in order to find out the present value of the cash flows. So here we will be able to find out the present value of cash inflows. We have our 5 years given to us. That's the life of the project. And in each year, the cash inflows are 2 lakh. Now, whether your cash inflows are constant or not, you will be following the same method. So once you've copied down your cash inflows for all the years, find out the present value interest factor for or at the discount rate of 10%. Ways of calculating this discount factor or otherwise called as present value interest factor. One is using a formula. The formula is very simple. You find out the present value interest factor with this formula 1 divided by 1 plus the rate to the power of the number of years. So in this problem, the rate is 10% and for each year, whichever year it is, you will have to write that year in the formula. Alternatively, you can just use the present value table in order to find out your present value interest factor. So I am looking at the table over here. And in this table, I will be looking for the discount factor that is given in the question, which is 10%. And for every year, the present value interest factor is mentioned. All I have to do is copy this into my table. So for the first year, it was 0.909. For the second year, it's 0.826. For the third year, it's 0.751. For the fourth year, it's 0.683. And for the fifth year, it's 0.621. Now that I have my present value interest factor at 10%, all I have to do is multiply my cash inflows into the present value interest factor. And I do this for all the 5 years. Once you've calculated the present value of cash inflows this way for all the 5 years, find out the cumulative of this. So the first year, it's 1,81,800. For the second year, 1,81,000 plus 1,65,200 for the third year. So this way you keep finding out the cumulative of each year. So at the end of the fifth year, I found out what is the cumulative cash inflows. Now the process remains the same, just like how we did it in traditional method. We find where the initial investment lies in our cumulative column. So the initial investment is given in the question as 6 lakh. So I take the 6 lakh and I find out that the 6 lakh lies between the third and fourth year. So my payback period will be 3 years and a part of the fourth year. So let's find out the payback period. So that's going to be 3 years plus the difference. Now, at the end of third year, we've been able to recover 4,97,200. We need how much more to recover the entire 6 lakh? So that's 6 lakh minus 4,97,200. This divided by the cash inflows of the fourth year. The cash inflows of the fourth year are, take the present value, 1,36,600. So with this, you will be able to find out the payback period. So 1,02,800 divided by 1,36,600. So it's 3 plus 0.75. Therefore, payback period is equal to 3.75 years. So this is how you calculate payback period under the discounted payback period method or the modern payback period method. Thank you.